A very warm and happy morning to you all children. Hope you are all keeping yourself good, and today we are going to continue the lesson which we had already taken up called gravitation. So last week we started with gravitation and we have seen some of the important concepts on that. Today we will be continuing that with a few more topics, and by today this lesson will come to an end. And as I told you, the pressure and the thrust concept are being removed from your syllabus for this year. Therefore, you need not go through the pressure part of this. So only gravitation is the syllabus for you. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, the syllabus is being reduced. So what we are going to see today is the important concept of free fall, then the equations of motions with respect to a freely falling body as well as a body which is moving upward. And finally, we will be seeing about the mass and weight. Are they one and the same? Are they entirely different? And how to calculate the numericals based on all the above concepts. So we will see one by one. We'll go into the lesson, please. Yes, children, let us see the concept of weightlessness or free fall as first. Before going and analyzing what is free fall, let us start the chapter or topic with a small experiment. Now, take a small stone and drop it from a height. Now, when you drop it from a height, the stone begins to fall down. When the stone falls down, what do you think the forces acting on them? Is there any forces acting on them? Yes, definitely. There are two forces acting on them. What are they? One is the force which is acting vertically down, and that is nothing but it is the weight of the stone. We have already learnt weight has a formula. W is equal to mg, where m is the mass and g is the acceleration due to gravity. All right. So the downward force is specially due to the acceleration due to gravity. The earth has the property of attracting all the objects towards its center, and that's why it is acting on the stone and making the stone to fall down. Well, now what is the other force acting on it? When the stone is falling down, there is an upward force which is known as air resistance or drag, as we had seen in the case of friction. So this force acts upward. So the stone reaches by overcoming the air resistance and falling to the ground. Now let us see to the experiment which was given by Galileo, and let us see to the tube which is given in the slide. It is a transparent cylindrical tube, long tube, where both the ends are closed or sealed, and where a coin and feather is already taken into the tube. Now, in the ordinary condition, when you tilt the tube upright, what will happen? Both the coin and the feather will begin to travel to the bottom of the tube. And you will notice that the coin comes first and the feather reaches next. Isn't it? This is a practical example. Even if you drop a stone and a feather from our top building, you will notice the same. The coin will come, the stone will come first and the feather or the cotton will come next. What is the reason for this? Is it due to the mass? The mass of the coin is more than the mass of the feather. Practically it is, but is it the reason why the coin comes first and the feather comes later? Now let us decide it after we finish this experiment. Now what Galileo did was he removed all the air inside the tube. He evacuated the tube and made it as vacuum. Now he repeated the same. Tilt the glass jar upside down. Now we can see that both the coin and the feather reaches the other end at the same time. That means they traveled with the same velocity, they accelerated with the same speed, and they reached the bottom of the other tube at the same time. So what does it mean? So it is only because of the upward force, which is known as the air resistance. The coin came first and the feather came next previously. And this is the concept of the free fall. Now, what do you mean by free fall? Let us see the slide. When a body falls from a height towards the earth only under the influence of gravitational force. So only under the influence of gravitational force with no other force acting on it, the body is said to have a free fall. The body having a free fall is called freely falling body. Galileo proved that the acceleration of an object falling freely towards the earth not does not depend on mass of the object. So he proved the falling is not due to the mass of the object. Imagine that vacuum is created by evacuating air from the glass jar. The feather and the coin fall with the same acceleration and reaches the ground at the same time. So this is the concept of free fall, and Galileo has explained us that mass is immaterial when they are accelerating. Yes, children, now let us further see in detail about this weightlessness. We often hear that an astronaut experiences weightlessness in space. What does this mean? Let us perform a simple experiment to demonstrate weightlessness. Suspend a stone from a spring balance. The pointer of the spring balance shows the weight of the stone. Allowing the spring balance along with the stone to fall freely. The spring balance records zero weight, indicating that the stone is weightless. Does it mean that the weight of the stone is zero? No. Actually, the stone is in the state of weightlessness as it is falling freely. A body becomes conscious of weight whenever its weight is opposed by some other objects. So when you hang on your hand, the stone has some weight, but at the same time when you drop the stone along with the balance, then the pointer shows 0, which is known as weightlessness. Now let us see about astronauts. Now let us try to explain why an astronaut in the spaceship experiences weightlessness. When the astronaut is in the spaceship is orbiting the Earth, then both the astronaut and the spaceship are in the state of free fall towards the Earth. During a free fall, both travel downwards with the same acceleration equal to the acceleration due to gravity. As a result, the astronaut does not exert any force on the sides or floor of the spaceship, and the sides of the floor of the spaceship do not push the astronaut up. The astronaut therefore experiences weightlessness while they are descending towards the Earth. Now, based on the study of the free fall, now let us see to the expression for g, that is acceleration due to gravity. When an object falls down towards the Earth under the gravitational force alone, we say the object is in free fall. The velocity of a freely falling body changes and it is said to be accelerated. This acceleration is called acceleration due to gravity, denoted by the letter g, and its unit is meters per second square. Now let us derive the equation for the value of small g, that is acceleration due to gravity. Now small g is acceleration due to gravity and capital G is gravitational constant. Right, fine. Now first F is equal to ma. This is the famous Newton's second law of equation. F is force, m is mass, a is acceleration. So F is equal to ma. So a is acceleration. The acceleration is regarded by the letter A when the body moves straight. That means when they move from left to right or right to left of your direction. And when the body is freely falling, that means if it is falling from a height, then the acceleration A will be replaced by the letter G, which is acceleration due to gravity. So for a freely falling body, F is equal to mg. That is the second equation. And now F is equal to g into m by d square. And where did we get this equation from? It is the universal law of gravitation. So this is the third equation. So we have three equations for the force. F is equal to ma for those bodies which travel straight, that is from left to right. F is equal to mg for those bodies which are moving up and down. And F is equal to g into m by d square. This is, we got it from universal law of gravitation. Now let us take the second and the third equation. F is equal to mg and F is equal to g into m by d square. So since the left side are equal, F and F, right side must be equal. So what are the right sides of 2 and 3? mg is equal to g into m by d square. Now keep g on the left side and transfer m to the other side. mg is in the relation multiplication. So when it goes to the other side, it will become division. So after we transfer m to the right side, the numerator m and the denominator m will get cancelled, and you get the relation for small g. G is equal to gm by d square, where small g is the acceleration due to gravity, m is the mass of the earth, d the distance between the object and the earth, and g the gravitational constant. If the object is placed on the earth, then d will become r. So d will become r. So where r is the radius of the earth, so g is equal to gm by r square. So earth is not a sphere, but it is a flattened spherical body. This we all know it. So we got the equation for the value of g, and from this we can calculate the value of g, and you all know that the value of g is 9.8 meter per second square. After we derive the equation for the value of g, the formula says g is equal to gm by r square. Now let us see to the definition of acceleration due to gravity. The acceleration with which a body falls towards the earth due to the earth gravitational pull is known as the acceleration due to gravity. It is denoted as g. There are a few spelling mistakes here. Please ignore this, children. Right. Now let us come to the right one. Factors on which acceleration due to gravity depends upon. What are the factors on which the small g is depending upon? So for this we need to take up the formula. See to the last one. G is equal to gm by r square, where g is the gravitational constant, m is the mass of the earth, and r is the radius of the earth. So m is in the denominator. So when the mass increases, g will increase, isn't it? Both of them are directly proportional. And the r, the radius, is in the denominator. So g and r, both of them are inversely proportional. So let us sum up this and see to the slide. Acceleration due to gravity is directly proportional to the mass of the earth and inversely proportional to the square of the radius of the earth. Now let us further explore the value of g with its formula. G is equal to capital G m by r square. Now we all know that the earth is not a perfect sphere where the radius is same everywhere, and it is an elliptical shape as shown in the figure. So when it is elliptical in shape, the radius will be different. So I have expressed RE as the radius in the equator and RP radius in the poles. So we can see from the figure that RE, that is the radius in the equator, is more than the radius in the poles. So RE is greater than RP. Now G is inversely proportional to R. So when R is more, G will be less, isn't it? So based on the figure, we can conclude the value of G is greater at the poles. Why it is greater at the poles? The radius is less. And the value of G is less at the equator. Why it is less at the equator? The radius at the equator is more. So more the radius, less is the value of G. Children, we have already seen the three equations of motions. Motions are expressed basically on Newton's equations, first equation, second equation and third equation. Now, how is there any change in the equation for those bodies which are under the influence of gravitational force of the earth? As g is constant near the earth, all the equations for the uniformly accelerated motion objects becomes valid with the acceleration a replaced by g. So wherever a is there, it will be replaced by g in the equations. The first equation says v is equal to u plus at. Second equation is s is equal to ut plus of at square. V square is equal to u square plus 2as, where u, v are the initial and final velocity and s is the distance covered in time t. Children, this slide clearly gives you the various expressions for those bodies which are falling freely. Equations of vertical motions under the influence of g. Let a body be thrown vertically downward with initial velocity u. Let the final velocity of the body after time t be v. Let h be the height, vertical distance covered by the body, and g be the acceleration due to gravity. Then the equation of motions are, so for those bodies which are freely falling down, those equations are like this. V is equal to u plus gt. So wherever a is there, we have to simply replace it by the letter g. So the first equation is v is equal to u plus gt and h is equal to ut plus of gt square. So the s will be equal to height h here, and so it is like this. And the third equation is v square is equal to u square plus 2gh. Now let us see the set of equations for the next. When the body is dropped freely, the equations of motions are, here when the body is falling freely, then the initial velocity u will become 0. So substitute everything in the previous equation and with u is equal to 0. So v is equal to gt because u is equal to 0. H is equal to half gt square, second equation. And the third is v square is equal to 2gh. Now let us see the set of equations for the body which is thrown vertically upward. So when the body is thrown vertically upward, the value of g takes in the opposite direction. Therefore, the positive g becomes negative g. So replace the first set of equation with g as minus g. So the first equation of motion is v is equal to u minus gt, h is equal to ut minus of gt square, v square is equal to u square minus 2gh. So these are the sets of equation for the bodies with various types of motion, and this you have to bear it in mind in order to solve the problems later. Now let us see to the one of the worked out examples which is taken from your text, and that is example 10.2. A car falls off a ledge and drops to the ground in 0.5 seconds. Let g be equal to 10 meter per second square. So for simplifying the calculation, this value is being taken. So what is being asked? First, what is its speed on striking the ground? Second, what is its average speed during 0.5 seconds? Third one, how high is the ledge from the ground? So analyze the question and take what are the informations we are being given with. We are being given with time 0.5 seconds, so it has been taken as 1 by 2 half seconds. And initial velocity before falling, it must be at rest, right? Therefore, u is equal to 0 meter per second. And acceleration due to gravity, we have been asked to take it as 10 meter per second square. Therefore, acceleration of the car is also 10 meter per second, and this is falling downwards. So first let us calculate the speed. So v is equal to u plus at. First equation we are applying v equal to u plus at, where u is the initial velocity and that becomes 0, and so v is equal to gt. So g value is 10, t value is 0.5. Therefore, when we multiply both this, we get 5 meter per second, and that is the speed of the car with which it is falling down. Second, average speed. Average speed is nothing but initial speed plus final speed divided by 2. So initial speed is 0 and final speed we have calculated just now 5. So find the average of these two. It will be 2.5 meter per second. The third question, how high? How high means the distance you are asked to travel. The distance you have to calculate. So distance traveled, S is equal to ut plus of gt square. That is the formula taken here. So ut will become 0. Since u is equal to 0, ut becomes 0. So the simplified formula will be S is equal to half gt square. So substitute a equal to 10, t is equal to 0.5, and when you simplify you will get 1.25 as the distance traveled. So we have calculated the speed, the average velocity, and the height of which the car is falling from. So this is another example which is taken from your book, example 10.3. An object is thrown vertically upward and rises to a height of 10 meters. So the distance traveled by the body here is 10 meters. Calculate the velocity with which the object was thrown upward and the time taken for the object to reach the height. So you are asked to calculate first the velocity which is used for throwing upward and the time taken for it. Now here analyze the problem and what are the things being given here. Here the stone is thrown up. Therefore, the value of g becomes minus. So here we have not told about the value of g. So we have to take it as 9.8. And since the stone is traveling up, so we have to take it as minus 9.8. And what it has, when the body is thrown up, it has an initial velocity, and after reaching a distance here, in this case 10 meters, then what happens to the final velocity? The final velocity is 0. So it has an initial velocity and the final velocity is 0. Therefore v is equal to 0 and you have to calculate. So take up the formula, v square is equal to u square plus 2as. So here substitute v is equal to 0 and a value as minus 9.8 meter per second square, and simplify, you will get the initial velocity u as 14 meter per second. The next part of the question is you are asked to calculate the time taken to reach this distance. So in order to find out the time taken, use the formula V is equal to U plus AT. So in this substitute V is equal to 0. The value of U you have found out from the initial, and A as minus 9.8, and time you keep it as T itself and simplify. You will get the answer to be 1.43 seconds. Okay, children. So when the problems are given, analyze the problem. What are the data given to you, and what is it you have to find it out, and what is the situation for the body? Is it falling downward or is it going up? All this you have to analyze, and you have to keep the data ready in order to get the solutions. Now, let us move to the next concept of mass and weight. This concept we have already seen in the previous chapters, and so let us just revise this. Mass. The mass of a body is the measure of its inertia. If the mass of a body is more, its inertia is also more. The mass of a body is constant and does not change from place to place. The SI unit of mass is kilogram. Weight. The weight of a body is the force with which the earth attracts the body. The force with which a body is attracted by the earth depends on its mass m and acceleration due to gravity g. So F is equal to m into g. Since the weight of the body is the force with which the earth attracts the body, W is equal to mg. Since g at the place is constant, W is directly proportional to mass. The weight of a body changes from place to place. The SI unit of weight is same as force, that is Newton. Now let us see to the important difference between the two, mass and weight. Mass is the quantity of matter in your body. Weight is the force by which the earth attracts a body towards its center. Mass is a scalar quantity because it has only magnitude. Weight is a vector quantity because it has magnitude as well as direction. Mass of a body is always constant everywhere in the universe. Weight of the body vary from place to place and becomes zero on the center of the earth and far away from the surface of the earth. Weight of the body is given by the formula W is equal to mg. Since the value g is not constant, W is also not constant. Mass of a moving body m is given by the formula m is equal to F by A. Weight of the body is given by the formula W is equal to mg. Okay, so these are the major differences. Now let us see to the numericals based on mass and weight. There are two problems given here. Problem 1. Compute the weight of a body on the moon if the mass is 60 kilogram. G is given as 1.625. So see to the answer for this. M is given as 60 kilograms and G value is also given as 1.625. So you are being asked to calculate W. W is equal to mg. So both the values are there. Just multiply it. You will get W is equal to 97.5 newtons. Second problem. Compute the weight of a body on the earth whose mass is 25 kilograms. So mass is given as 25 kilograms and G we have to take it as 9.8 meter per second square. So substitute in the formula, W will be 245 newtons. So here in the two cases, you can observe that the value of G in the earth is 9.8 and in the case of the moon, it is 1.625. So the value of G on the moon is 1/6 of the earth. So if in the problems, if it is not given, you can take the value of G on the earth as 9.8 and the G value on the moon to be 1/6 of the G of the earth. That means 1/6 into 9.8. Children, we have come to the end of today's learning, and today we have discussed three major subtopics. One is free fall. So when an object is said to have free fall. Secondly, the equations of motion, how the three equations of motions are altered according to the situations, when it is dropping down, when it is moving up, and we have solved problems based on them. And the third main concept we have seen is the mass and the weight. So mass and weight, how are they calculated and how do they vary, and all that we have seen. So listen to the slides till you get understand. The problems in this lesson are very, very important. So practice the problems in your textbooks, which is solved as well as unsolved, and also try to find out more problems by surfing the Google. You will find more problems. So go through those problems and get a better idea. So that's all for today's lesson, children. So we will meet sometime next week with the same timings. Until then, bye bye from you, children. Bye.